Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight from the heart. There comes a time in every one of our lives when we get tired of trying, tired of pushing, tired of thinking we can handle it all on our own. And let me tell you something else. God never intended for you to fight all your battles by yourself. Some things are too big, too heavy, too impossible for you to carry on your own. And that's why you have to let God fight your battle. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about something that a lot of us don't want to admit. We try to do it all by ourselves. We try to control every single thing in our lives. You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is start making a plan for your day. You worry about your job, your bills, your family, your relationships, your future. And somewhere deep inside, you're thinking, if I just work harder, if I just try a little more, if I just control things tightly enough, maybe I can fix it all myself. But I'm here to tell you today, that's not how it works. You see, life has a way of humbling you, a way of showing you that some things are bigger than you, bigger than your plans, bigger than your efforts. And the first step to winning your battles, the first step to living a life of peace and purpose is learning to stop trying to control everything yourself. I know. Some of you are thinking, Steve, I can't just stop. If I don't do it, nobody else will. But that's exactly where you're wrong. God wants you to stop. He wants you to step back. He wants you to realize that there are battles only He can fight. There are situations that are beyond your understanding, beyond your strength, beyond your ability to solve. And here's the truth. When you hold on too tight, when you insist on controlling everything, you're actually holding back your own blessing. You're blocking the miracle that God is trying to bring into your life because you're too busy trying to do it yourself. Think about it. How many times have you stressed yourself out over something that you thought you had to handle on your own, only to see it fall apart? Anyway, how many times have you stayed up late, tossing and turning, worrying about bills, worrying about relationships, worrying about your health, worrying about your future, only to wake up the next morning and realize it's still the same? And what did all that stress do for you? Nothing. It drained you. It tired you out. It took your joy away. And I'm here to tell you that's exactly why God says, stop trying to do this on your own. Let me fight your battle. Now, surrendering isn't easy. I get it. You're used to being the one in control. You're used to being the one who works hard, who plans everything, who handles everything. You're used to being strong. And let me tell you, being strong is a good thing. It's a necessary thing. But there comes a time when your strength alone isn't enough. There comes a time when your best effort, your hardest work, your smartest plan, it still can't solve the problem. And that's when you have to let go. You have to say, God, I can't do this by myself. I need you. Fight this battle for me. Letting go doesn't mean you're weak. Letting go doesn't mean you're lazy. Letting go means you're smart. Letting go means you understand that there's a power greater than you, a wisdom greater than you, a plan greater than you. And when you step back and surrender, something amazing happens. Your stress starts to lift. Your mind starts to clear. You begin to feel peace, real peace, even in the middle of the storm. And let me tell you, that peace is powerful. That peace allows you to move forward, to think clearly, to make better decisions, and to live your life without being consumed by fear or worry. I want you to picture this for a moment. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack full of stones, each stone representing your worries, your fears, your struggles. You carry that backpack everywhere you go, and every step is harder than the last. Now imagine someone comes along and says, "Here, let me carry that for you." At first, you might be hesitant. You might think, "No, I got this. I can handle it." But the truth is, the moment you let go and allow them to carry it, you feel lighter. You can breathe again. You can move faster. You can see farther. That's exactly what happens when you let God fight your battles. All that weight you've been carrying, all that stress, all that worry, it's not yours to carry. God wants to take it from you, but you have to let Him. And I want to be real with you. Surrendering doesn't mean the problems disappear overnight. It doesn't mean that the storm magically stops. But what it does mean is that you're no longer fighting alone. What it does mean is that the battle is no longer on your shoulders alone. What it does mean is that God is working behind the scenes, moving things in ways you can't even see, setting things up in ways you can't even imagine. And when the timing is right, when everything lines up, you will see the victory that was there all along. The problem is, most people don't let go. Most people keep trying to control everything. They keep stressing, they keep worrying, they keep planning every little detail, thinking they can fix it all. And while they're busy doing that, they miss the blessings that are already on their way. They miss the doors God is opening. They miss the miracles He's preparing. And that's why it's so important to stop, to breathe, to step back, and to say, "God, I surrender. I let go. I can't do this alone. Fight my battle for me." I want you to know today, ladies and gentlemen, that God is not too busy for you. He is not too tired for you. He is not too far away. He is right there, ready to step in, ready to fight, ready to bring you the victory that you cannot bring for yourself. But you have to let Him. You have to release your control. You have to stop trying to do it all by yourself. And when you do, I promise you, you will experience a peace, a power, and a victory that you have never known before. So right now, make the decision. Stop trying to control everything. Stop trying to fight all your battles alone. Step back, breathe, trust, surrender. Let God fight your battle because He can do for you what you can't do for yourself. And when He does, your life will never be the same. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most of us struggle to understand in life. Timing is everything. You can have the best plans, the most effort, the hardest work, and even the clearest vision, but if you are out of sync with God's timing, nothing will go the way you expect. I know you've been there. You've been praying, working, hustling, doing everything you think you need to do, and yet nothing seems to move. Doors don't open. People don't show up. Opportunities don't appear. And you start asking yourself, why isn't this happening now? Why is it taking so long? Let me tell you something. Right here, right now, God's timing is perfect, and it is always worth the wait. I know waiting is hard. It's frustrating. It can make you feel restless, impatient, and sometimes even hopeless. But let me remind you of something. God sees the bigger picture. He sees the beginning, the middle, and the end. He knows what you need, not just what you want. He knows the people who should be in your life and the people who shouldn't. He knows the lessons you need to learn and the character you need to develop before your blessing arrives. When you try to rush ahead of God's timing, you often miss the very thing you're praying for, or you get it too early and it's not ready to serve you properly. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something and you wanted it yesterday? You wanted the promotion, the relationship, the financial breakthrough, the recognition, the opportunity, the miracle, and when it didn't come, you felt disappointed, defeated, or even doubted God. But what if I told you that what you wanted might have come too soon if it had arrived according to your schedule? What if it wasn't ready for you yet, but God was still working behind the scenes, preparing it, perfecting it, protecting it, making sure that when it comes at the right time, in the right way, and for the right reason. That's why trusting His timing is so important. You see, life isn't a race. Life isn't about who can get there first, who can achieve the most, who can make the most money or win the most recognition. Life is about walking in God's plan for you, following His lead, and trusting Him to bring things together at the exact moment they are supposed to. And here's the beauty of trusting God's timing. It frees you from stress, fear, and disappointment. When you truly believe that God is in control, you stop obsessing over the clock. You stop panicking when things don't happen immediately. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's. And that's when peace comes. That's when joy comes. That's when faith comes alive in your life. I want you to hear me clearly. God's timing is not about speed. It's about precision. He doesn't move too fast, and He doesn't move too slow. He moves exactly when He needs to move. And when He does, everything falls into place perfectly. You might not understand it now. You might not see it now. But later you will look back and see that every delay, every closed door, every no, in every moment of waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. It was protection. It was His wisdom at work, making sure that when your blessing comes, you are ready to receive it fully. Now, I know some of you are saying, Steve, waiting is so hard. I feel stuck. I feel like nothing is happening. And I hear you. I feel you. But let me tell you something. Just because you don't see the change doesn't mean God. Sitting working. Just because your situation hasn't shifted yet doesn't mean your miracle won't arrive tomorrow. You see, God's timing is often invisible. He works in ways that you cannot see. He lines up people, situations, and opportunities in secret. He moves behind the scenes while you are praying, trusting, and continuing to do your part. And when the time is right, everything explodes in your favor, and people wonder how it all happened. But you know the truth. You know that it wasn't by chance, it was by His timing. Let me tell you something else. Trusting God's timing is not passive. It doesn't mean you just sit and do nothing. It means you continue to work, continue to pray, continue to grow, continue to prepare, and continue to be ready. Because when the time comes, you have to be ready to receive what God has for you. You see, opportunities in God's timing are powerful, but they often require readiness. And readiness comes from faith, patience, persistence, and trust. You don't get to complain that you weren't ready when your blessing arrives. You have to trust the process, even when it's invisible, even when it's inconvenient. I want you to picture this for a moment. Imagine a farmer planting a seed. He doesn't dig it up every day to check if it's grown. He doesn't water it 1,000 times a day, thinking that will make it grow faster. He plants it, he waters it, he tends to it, and he waits because he knows that the seed will grow in its own time. And when it does, it comes up strong, healthy, and ready to bear fruit. That's how God's timing works in your life. Your breakthrough, your victory, your miracle, it will come at the right time, in the right season, fully prepared to thrive. You just have to trust it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you today to stop rushing. Stop trying to force things to happen on your schedule. Saint, stop getting frustrated when doors don't open immediately. Stop doubting God when the timing feels slow. Instead, trust Him. Trust that He knows what's best, and trust that He knows when to act. Keep walking, keep praying, keep preparing, and keep believing. Because when God's timing finally arrives, everything you've been waiting for will come in a way far greater than you could have imagined. And you will see clearly why it had to wait. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something that every single one of us deals with at some point in our lives. Fear. Fear comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not having enough, fear of losing someone you love, fear of the future, fear of the unknown. And let me tell you something, fear is powerful. Fear can paralyze you. Fear can make you act in ways you normally wouldn't. Fear can steal your joy, steal your peace, and steal your destiny. But I'm here to tell you something that I've learned over the years. Faith replaces fear. Faith is stronger than fear. Faith is louder than fear. Faith is the only thing that allows you to walk through life with peace, even when the storm is raging around you. You see, fear is what happens when you try to do life on your own. Fear is what happens when you try to control your problems, control your circumstances, and control the outcomes. When you carry the weight of every struggle by yourself, when you insist that you have to fight every battle alone, fear moves in like a thief in the night. It whispers in your ear, you can't do this. You're not strong enough. You're going to fail. And the more you listen to it, the louder it gets, until it becomes a roar that drowns out everything else. But faith, ladies and gentlemen, faith is the answer to that roar. Faith is the weapon that pushes fear out of the room. Faith is what says, I may not understand, I may not see, but I trust God to fight this battle for me. Let me be clear, faith doesn't mean you suddenly stop feeling fear. No, fear is natural, it's human, but faith is what allows you to move in spite of that fear. Faith is what allows you to keep going when your mind says turn back. Faith is what allows you to remain calm when everyone else is panicking. Faith is what allows you to walk in peace because you know deep down that the battle is not yours, it's God's. And when God fights for you, fear has no power. It loses its grip. It fades away. I want you to picture this for a moment. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down into the unknown. Your knees are shaking, your heart is racing, and your mind is filled with every possible what if. That's fear. That's the human reaction to stepping into the unknown. Now imagine that right beside you is someone who has already walked this path, someone who has faced the dangers, survived the storms, and knows the way. That's faith. That's trusting God to fight your battle. You can take that step, not because you're fearless, but because you know He is with you. You can take that leap not because you understand everything, but because you trust Him to catch you. Letting God fight your battles removes the burden from your shoulders. It removes the anxiety, the panic, the doubt, and the worry. When you hand your struggles over to Him, you begin to experience peace like you've never known before. Real peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances. The kind of peace that allows you to sleep at night even when the storm is raging outside. The kind of peace that makes you stand tall in the face of challenges because you know who's fighting for you. And the more you practice this, the more you realize that fear is just a shadow. It has no real power when faith is in the room. And let me tell you something else. Fear loves to isolate you. Fear loves to make you feel alone, abandoned, and powerless. Fear wants you to believe that you have to handle everything yourself. But faith connects you to a power that is greater than yourself. Faith connects you to God, who is bigger than your problems, bigger than your struggles, and bigger than your fear. Faith reminds you that you are never alone, even when the situation looks impossible. Faith gives you courage when courage seems out of reach. Faith gives you hope when hope seems lost. And hope is the antidote to fear. You see, every time you hand a problem over to God, every time you say, Lord, I can't do this alone, you fight this for me, something powerful happens in your spirit. Fear starts to shrink and faith starts to grow. Your heart slows down. Your mind becomes clearer. You begin to make decisions with confidence instead of panic. You begin to walk in the world without carrying the weight of the impossible. And the people around you notice it. They notice your calm. They notice your confidence. They notice your peace, and they wonder how you're able to do it. They don't realize that it's not you, it's Him. It's God fighting for you. And let's be real, life is going to test you. Life is going to throw challenges at you that seem bigger than anything you can handle. There will be moments when fear knocks on your door, demanding attention. There will be moments when doubt tries to convince you that God has forgotten you, that your prayers are unheard, that your struggles are too big. But that's exactly when faith has to rise up. That's exactly when you have to remember fear is temporary, faith is eternal, fear is limited, faith is limitless. And when you choose faith over fear, you step into a life of peace, power, and victory. I want you to remember this today, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me, fear is the natural response when you try to do life alone. Faith is the supernatural response when you let God fight your battles. Fear will try to keep you awake at night. Faith will give you rest. Fear will make you doubt yourself. Faith will remind you of who you are in Him. Fear will make you feel small. Faith will make you feel unstoppable. And the more you walk in faith, the more you'll realize that God has been fighting for you all along. Even when you didn't see it, even when you didn't feel it, even when you didn't understand it. So today, make a choice. When fear shows up, choose faith. When doubt shows up, choose trust. When worry shows up, choose surrender. Hand your battles over to God and watch what happens. Because when you let Him fight, fear loses its power, peace floods your soul, and you walk in a confidence and freedom that nothing in this world can take away. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about something that will change the way you see your life, your struggles, and your victories. Too often we look at our battles and we think, this is it. This is the fight. This is everything I have to face, and I don't know if I can win. And I get it. I've been there. We all have. We stare at problems that seem bigger than us, challenges that feel impossible, situations that look hopeless, and we try to handle them ourselves thinking we can fight every battle with our own strength. But I'm here to tell you today, your victory is bigger than you imagine. God fights battles that you can't even see. And when He does, the outcome is far beyond what your mind can picture. You see, one of the biggest mistakes we make is underestimating the power of God's work in our lives. We see the struggle in front of us, the storm around us, the opposition against us, and we start thinking that this is the final result. But what we fail to realize, that we are only seeing a small piece of the picture. God sees the beginning, the middle, and the end. God sees the entire battlefield, not just the part we can look at. And that's why He tells us to trust Him, to lean on Him, and to allow Him to fight our battles. Because when He steps in, things happen that we could never plan, predict, or imagine. Let me be real with you. There have been times in my life when I thought I was at the end of the rope. I thought I was done. I thought the situation was too much, too hard, and too unfair. And in that moment, fear, doubt, and frustration try to take over. But then something amazing happens when you allow God to step in. Doors open that you didn't even knock on. People show up in your life at the perfect time. Opportunities appear that you never could have imagined. Solutions come in ways that are miraculous. That, my friends, is God fighting a battle you couldn't see. That is your victory being prepared while you were still in the struggle. The problem is we're often impatient. We want to see results immediately. We want the victory now. We want the problem solved yesterday. And when it doesn't happen according to our timetable, we start doubting. We start worrying. We start trying to take matters into our own hands. But here's the truth. When you try to fight a battle that God is already fighting, you can actually get in the way of your own victory. God's ways are higher than our ways. His timing is perfect. His plan is flawless. And His victory is always bigger than anything we could imagine. Think about it. How many times have you faced a challenge and you thought, there's no way I'm going to make it through this? Maybe it was a financial struggle, a relationship problem, a health scare, or a personal setback. And then months or years later, you look back and realize not only did you make it through, but you came out stronger, wiser, and more blessed than you could have ever dreamed. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's God fighting battles you didn't even see. That's your victory being prepared behind the scenes while you were still in the struggle. And here's another thing I want you to understand. God doesn't just fight to help you survive. He fights to help you thrive. He fights to give you a life that exceeds your expectation. He fights to bring you blessings that you never could have planned. He fights to position you in places that you didn't even know existed. And when you finally see the results, when you finally experience the victory, you realize it's far bigger than you imagined, far better than you dreamed, and far more powerful than anything you could have done on your own. I want you to picture this for a moment. Imagine you're in a battle and you can only see a few steps ahead. You're tired, worn out, and wondering how this is ever going to end. You can't see the army that God has lined up for you. You can't see the doors He's opening. You can't see the people He's sending. You can't see the timing He's preparing. All you see is the fight right in front of you. But that's okay, because God can see everything. He knows every move. He knows every obstacle. He knows every blessing. And He's working behind the scenes to ensure that your victory is not only possible, but extraordinary. Let me tell you something else. The bigger the battle, the bigger the blessing. The bigger the struggle, the greater the reward. God doesn't give you small victories just to make you feel better. He gives you victories that transform your life, change your perspective, and position you for greatness. And the most amazing part is that many of these victories happen quietly, secretly, without you even realizing it at first. You don't have to understand how it's happening. You don't have to see every detail. You just have to trust. You just have to believe. You just have to allow God to fight the battle for you. I know some of you are thinking, Steve, I don't see the victory yet. I don't know how this is going to end. And that's okay. That's exactly where faith comes in. Faith is what keeps you moving when you can't see. Faith is what keeps you believing when the odds seem stacked against you. Faith is what allows you to trust that God is already in the process of winning your battle, even if you can't see the finish line yet. And when that victory finally arrives, it's going to be bigger than your doubts, bigger than your fears, bigger than your struggles, and bigger than anything you could have ever imagined. So today, I want you to stop underestimating what God can do. Stop thinking your battles are too big, too complicated, or too impossible. Stop believing that your situation defines your outcome, and start believing in the one who fights battles you can't even see. Start believing that your victory is not only coming, but is coming in a way that exceeds your wildest dreams. Because when you let God fight for you, you don't just win, you triumph. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just overcome, you soar. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a victory bigger than you could ever imagine.